this drink, that deep, dark, almost silent pour, the creamy head, it feels familiar, a piece of history you can hold in your hand. But what if I told you that this humble pint of stout is the cornerstone of a billion-dollar old money dynasty? I'm Beatrice, and I'm endlessly fascinated by these hidden threads connecting the everyday to the extraordinary. This isn't just a story about a beer. It's an epic journey from the cobblestones of Dublin to the gilded halls of European aristocracy. How does a family of brewers make that leap? It all begins with one of the most audacious, almost unbelievable business deals ever signed, a 9,000-year lease. The year is 1759. The place, a dilapidated 4-acre brewery plot at St. James's Gate in Dublin, and the man holding the pen is a 34-year-old named Arthur Guinness. But how did a man of relatively humble origins in the complex landscape of 18th century Ireland even get to this moment? It began 7 years earlier, in 1752, with a stroke of fortune. His godfather, an archbishop, left him a £100 inheritance. For a young man with ambition, it wasn't just money, it was the seed of a future no one else could see. He started a small brewery, but his vision was always fixed on the capital, Dublin. And when he saw the abandoned site at St. James's Gate, he didn't see ruin, he saw generations. He made an offer that would become legend, just £45 per year for 9,000 years. This wasn't just a good deal, it was an act of almost prophetic belief. He wasn't leasing a property, he was claiming a destiny for his family name for millennia to come. With the keys in hand, he made another crucial decision. Instead of brewing common local ales, he pivoted to a dark, rich beer that was popular in London, called porter, the direct ancestor of the stout we know today. The final piece of his foundation, a strategic marriage to Olivia Whitmore, whose £1,000 dowry provided the critical capital to fuel his expansion. The lease was signed, the recipe was perfected, the family was secured. Arthur Guinness hadn't just started a business, he had laid the first unshakable stone of an empire. But an empire isn't built in a single lifetime. It's forged in the handing of the baton from one generation to the next. The second Arthur Guinness inherited his father's vision, but poured his own formidable ambition into it. His goal was simple: scale. Under his watch, the brewery's output exploded. What began as 360,000 gallons a year swelled to over 2 million. He cleverly capitalized on tax laws that favored Irish brewers, flooding the British market with his signature dark porter. The quality was so undeniable that even Prime Minister Benjamin Disraeli commented on its excellence. They weren't just selling beer, they were exporting a standard. Then came the third generation, and the man who truly changed the game, Sir Benjamin Lee Guinness. He saw beyond the balance sheets. He understood a profound truth that old money has always known. Wealth is a tool, but legacy is the prize. As the family's first Lord Mayor of Dublin, he began weaving the Guinness name into the very fabric of the city. His masterstroke came in 1862, seeing the magnificent yet crumbling St. Patrick's Cathedral. He made a breathtaking offer. He would fund its entire restoration, personally. The cost? A staggering £150,000, an almost unimaginable fortune at the time. This was more than charity. It was a statement etched in stone, a gift to the Irish people that could not be ignored. And the British establishment took notice. In 1867, the reward for this long strategic pivot from commerce to culture finally arrived. Benjamin Lee Guinness was granted a baronetcy by Queen Victoria. The family had officially ascended. They were no longer just brewers. They were now nobility. But for a dynasty like the Guinness family, A baronetcy wasn't the peak, it was base camp. The real ascent was left to the next generation, Sir Benjamin's two sons, Arthur and Edward. Arthur, a quiet, bookish man, was content with his title and a life of public service. But his younger brother, Edward Cecil Guinness, inherited the founder's restless ambition. In a pivotal move, Edward bought his brother's half of the brewery, taking sole control. And then he executed a masterstroke of breathtaking audacity. In 1886, he floated Guinness on the London Stock Exchange. The public went into a frenzy to own a piece of the legendary brewery. The offering was oversubscribed 20 times over, and overnight, Edward Guinness became the wealthiest man in Ireland. But this wasn't just about personal wealth. This was about legacy, written in stone and steel. Edward and his brother unleashed their fortunes upon Dublin. They cleared slums, building the first affordable housing for the city's poor. They bought and gifted St. Stephen's Green to the public, turning a private, locked park into the city's vibrant emerald heart. They created the Ivia Gardens, a hidden sanctuary of fountains and rose bushes. This wasn't just charity, it was statecraft. They were building a kingdom of public goodwill. Edward's vision extended beyond beauty to progress, funding the UK's first medical research charity, the Lister Institute, with £250,000. By the turn of the century, the Guinness name wasn't just on a bottle, it was on parks, on buildings, on the very future of science. For this, the Crown bestowed its ultimate reward. Edward Cecil Guinness was made the first Earl of Ivory. The family had reached its Gilded Age. But even a Gilded Age has its limits. They had money, land, and titles. But the final, unassailable peak of the old world was not for sale. It had to be joined. And the Guinnesses were about to achieve this, not with money, but with blood, royal blood. The family's incredible social climb was completed by its women. In 1937, the world watched as Lady Bridget Guinness married into one of Europe's most ancient royal families, becoming Her Royal Highness Princess Frederick of Prussia. The brewery from Dublin was now connected by marriage to the House of Hohenzollern. It was a fairy tale. This era was personified by the dazzling Golden Guinness Girls, Aline, Maureen, and Una. They were the celebrity swans of their day, their lives a whirlwind of legendary parties and high fashion, embodying the absolute zenith of the family's glamour and influence. But as the family touched the sun, a long, dark shadow began to fall. A shadow that many would come to call the Guinness Curse. It began in 1944. Walter Guinness, a cabinet minister, was assassinated in Cairo. It was a brutal public tragedy, the first deep crack in the gilded facade. Then came the story that would be immortalized in rock and roll history. In 1966, the 21-year-old heir Tara Brown, a fixture of swinging London, crashed his sports car at high speed. The news was so shocking, it found its way into the opening lines of a song by his friend John Lennon. When you hear the Beatles sing, "He blew his mind out in a car" in A Day in the Life, you are hearing the echo of the Guinness Curse. And the curse wasn't just physical, it struck the empire itself. In the 1980s, the company was rocked by the Guinness share trading fraud scandal. The CEO, Ernest Sanders, was convicted in a case that became a symbol of corporate greed. It was a humiliating public spectacle, and in the aftermath, for the first time in its history, the Guinness family lost majority control of the company their ancestor had founded. The name was tarnished, the kingdom shaken. They had achieved everything. They had climbed from the cobbled streets of Dublin to the palaces of Prussia. But the price of that fame, the cost of that Gilded Age, was paid in headlines of tragedy, scandal, and loss. So, is that the end of the Guinness story?
A cautionary tale of a fallen empire paid for in headlines of tragedy and loss? Not even close.
Because while the family may have lost control of the company, the dynasty itself didn't just survive, it mutated, scattering its billion-dollar DNA into the most fascinating corners of modern culture. This is the Guinness legacy today. First, meet Daphne Guinness, the family's high priestess of haute couture. With a personal fortune over $100 million, she is a living work of art. A muse to the late, great Alexander McQueen, you'll see her gliding through life in sky-high platform heels and sculptural silhouettes, a walking testament to the family's flair for the dramatic. Then there's her cousin, Edward Guinness, the 4th Earl of Ivy. He is the quiet, grounded counterpart to Daphne's spectacle. With a family fortune nearing £1 billion, he represents the traditional pillar, managing the vast 23,000-acre Elvedon estate and a private investment house. He's not in the headlines, he's in the ledger, quietly growing the old money that started it all. In the world of art, you have Hugo Guinness, the quiet creative. If you've ever admired the perfectly quirky aesthetic of a Wes Anderson film, you've likely seen his touch. He's a frequent collaborator, an artist whose influence is felt more than it is seen. But perhaps the ultimate modern power move came from Victoria Guinness. She united her family's legacy with another formidable dynasty, marrying Philip Niarchos, the heir to a $2.5 billion Greek shipping fortune. It was the merger of two empires born in the 20th century, the kings of Irish Stout and the titans of the Aegean Sea. From fashion to film, from land to sea, the Guinness name no longer just means beer, it means reinvention. And that, ultimately, is the heart of this incredible story. What began with a founder's modest £100 inheritance and an impossibly audacious 9,000-year lease methodically grew into a global billion-dollar empire. This wasn't an accident. It was built not just on the strength of its world-famous Stout, but on a multi-generational masterplan of breathtaking scope. Commercial success was meticulously converted into social capital through visionary philanthropy that reshaped cities. That capital was then leveraged through savvy marriages that wove the family's name into the very fabric of European aristocracy. The Guinness saga is so much more than a tale about beer. It's a profound masterclass in building an enduring legacy, a testament to how relentless ambition and strategic vision can transform a family's destiny and stamp its identity onto history itself. And now, I would love to hear from you. What's your connection to the Guinness name? Perhaps a story from a trip to Dublin, or a quiet moment shared over their famous Stout. The best stories are often the ones we share, so please leave yours in the comments below. If you enjoyed our deep dive into this fascinating dynasty, please like this video and subscribe for more journeys into the world's most captivating legacies. Thank you for sharing this time with me. Until our next story.